Dream Team, it's your boy D Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are talking about Max Verstappen once again. The title is Max Verstappen's Dominance is Worse. Max Verstappen's dominance is absolute insanity to me. And I know I've seen comments that say there's certain races in the past, like Schumacher and different races or Vettel that won 15 races in a row, and I'm like, that's absolute insanity. In my brain, that's crazy. But yeah, it's just Max is finishing so much ahead of everybody else. It's legit crazy to me right now. I can't fathom it. I keep saying in all videos, I became an F1 fan recently, and this kind of dominance is just off the charts. But before we dive in, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, ring notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. Perspective, talk to me.
Is Max Verstappen really that dominant? Well, yes. But is it really that boring? Now, if you watch his channel regularly, you'd know that I'm not really the most stats-based F1 YouTuber on the platform. Mostly because a lot of the time I'm too stupid to understand stats. I'm very much a simple-minded guy. So today,
I appreciate you. Hey, we're one and the same here. We're one and the same because I feel like I'm very simple-minded as well.
I just want to tell you how it feels. Now, the big debate or topic everyone talks about now is how Max Verstappen's era of dominance is comparing to Lewis Hamilton's. And I feel like it is a very intriguing discussion. So today I want to talk about how this era for Max Verstappen feels compared to the Lewis Hamilton Mercedes era of dominance, which of course had its boring times. Now 2023 is looking like it could be Red Bull's best ever season. Max Verstappen is just a few races away from breaking Sebastian Vettel's winning streak record, and Red Bull just seemed to be, you know, on another planet compared to everyone else. It seems to be like Red Bull are leading, and then there is a different universe, and then the rest of the F1 grid. So what's
that is exactly how it's feeling. He explained that perfectly because Red Bull's just in another stratosphere, bro. This dominance is insanity to me. And I wasn't around for the Lewis Hamilton dominance, so I've seen things, and I think they said he won 7 years in a row. I watched the show, and I'm like, bro, to win the Drivers' Championship 7 years in a row, and they won the Constructors' Championship 8 years in a row, that's crazy. That is pure and utter dominance. That's the definition of dominance. For a stretch that long, it's just baffling. It's baffling. But Max looks like he's gearing up to go on a stretch that long. Because this year, it's not that he's just so far ahead of everybody in points, but it's how he's winning. It's 20, 30 seconds ahead of people, ahead of second place. I don't know. It's just insane. All right, keep going, my guy.
What's interesting for me is that I found myself very bored throughout the Mercedes era of dominance. And Mercedes fans, before you get angry, don't worry. I get pretty bored during the Max Verstappen era of dominance as well. Mercedes won 7 straight drivers' titles from 2014 to 2020. With 6 of those championships going to Lewis Hamilton and 1 going to Nico Rosberg. Nico Rosberg won his title in 2016, and I'm going to be honest here, 2016 was a season that I just really enjoyed. But the funny thing about that is that it is Mercedes' most dominant season. They won 19 out of 21 races. They scored 20 pole positions. But why was it so entertaining for me? Well, need I say any more? There was rivalry, there was controversy, there were so many different things going on between those two drivers, you could almost cut the tension with a knife. It's one of those seasons where people want to see a movie made on it. People talk about Rush number 2, they talk about Hamilton versus Rosberg, the 2016 battle. 2016 was a season where you felt like, as a fan, something new was going to happen every race between those drivers.
I kind of want to go look it up now because for me being recent, my thing was 2021. Max and Lewis was sensational for me. It was amazement. It was It was everything I feel like you got asked for in the season. But now I want to go look up this 2016 season and see how great Lewis and Nico that rivalry was. Like I wouldn't say I get bored of Max's dominance because he's an incredible driver. And I mean, when you're witnessing somebody just be that dominant, you just can't do anything but appreciate their greatness for me. But I have said in multiple videos, like, it's just funner. It's better for sports fan when there's a challenger, when there's a rivalry, when there's someone, right, challenging the top dog for that top spot, when you're on the edge of your seats, when you know what I'm saying. It's just better for the sport in general, and it's funner for the fans to get anxious, to get nervous, to be scared, to come down to that last race tied up, 2021 tied up. You don't know who's it. This is it for all the marbles. Winner takes all. That feeling of not knowing if you're gonna win, and that feeling of crossing the finish line, and as a fan, that pure and utter ecstasy, that excitement and joy of seeing your driver win, but you didn't know if they were gonna win. Whereas in this season, it's Max is dominant, and I love watching the greatness. But there's no suspense. It's expected. At this point, it's like before you even turn the race on, you know who's gonna win the race. You know who's gonna come out on. It's gonna be Max. I'm watching second place and beyond at this point because I know who's coming in first. that's not a question to me. But like I said, I appreciate his greatness, but there's nothing like a rivalry to get the fans out of their seats. I'm talking too much.
As a fan, something new was going to happen every race between those drivers. But you also had others like Ricciardo and Verstappen. Obviously not in the title fight, far behind, but still having their own moments which kind of made you a little bit happy. Same as Sebastian Vettel battling away with Max, but I don't want to go too deep into that season. I just want to talk about Mercedes and Red Bull. Now, the simple answer is that yes, we had a teammates battle, a crazy rivalry, which we just don't get with Max and Sergio Perez. And don't get me wrong, Mercedes had some boring years for us fans to endure, and I know people are going to say, hey, Sebastian Vettel and Ferrari, they challenged in 2017 and 2018. And yeah, that's true, before it got thrown away. It was never a title challenge which was really truly, getting down to the wire where it was going to be these two drivers. It really did feel like Vettel and Ferrari threw it away a bit, and then it was just Mercedes. Now, I think what is interesting about this is I know that it is difficult to talk about because it is still ongoing. This will be the second year of Red Bull pretty much dominating, and because it's currently happening, I think more people tend to be annoyed at it. Sort of like with the Schumacher-Ferrari dominance. I think a lot of people look back and appreciate what Ferrari were able to do. More specifically, where they placed people, really setting up that team and building around Michael Schumacher. If you want to know more about the Ferrari years of dominance, check out my video on the secret pact between Michael Schumacher, Ross Brawn, and Jean Todt. So back to Max, you can sort of be a little bit, angry at F1, I guess, for simply having a dominant driver and team maybe make your race week a little bit boring. Or for me, I'm kind of waiting to see how this plays out. I want to see how good they can possibly get. Can they do what no one has ever done? Can they win every single race? Can they get that 100% record? And some people, of course, are going to hate Max Verstappen right now, but I'm sure in maybe, 15 years time, 10, 15 years time, I think people will look back on it and kind of appreciate what Red Bull are sort of doing now and how good they actually are. And how big the gap is.
I really love how he explains it and how he points it out, and I completely agree with his stance on this. While it's hard to appreciate now in the moment, especially if you're not a fan of Red Bull, if you're not a fan of Max Verstappen, right? Then it's hard to appreciate this dominance. But like you said, 10, 15 years from now, you look back and say like, wow, like Red Bull was truly an incredible team. Max Verstappen was truly one of the great drivers. Like I said, I wasn't here for the Lewis Hamilton era of dominance and Mercedes era of dominance, But like listening to somebody win that much and knowing that they won that much, I think to myself like, wow, like truly one of the best drivers of all time, and debatably the best. Like to win that much, you have to be in that conversation. And I think it may be hard to appreciate right now, but once the years are over, you're gonna look back and say like, wow. And if they win all of the races this year, bro, that's insanity. I feel like another team, like if they win one race, bro, they're gonna go absolutely crazy and be absolutely ecstatic, like they won it all, because that's just how dominant Red Bull is right now. But that, yeah, if Red Bull wins every single race, I guess they said that's never been done before. That'd be crazy.
Between Red Bull and everyone else is just, I mean, it speaks for itself. Believe me, Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, Nico Rosberg, Toto Wolff and Mercedes had me dozing off during F1 races before, okay? And that's okay. Look, F1 has always had periods of dominance, and it always is going to really have that, in my opinion. Believe me, I wish we had a driver battle every season between 2 or 3 drivers from different teams, but I'll say it again, and I've said it many times, that just isn't realistic. If you are hoping for that and you are kind of putting all your eggs in that basket, you are going to be disappointed. You know what all of this does? It just makes me more disappointed in Ferrari. Again, 2023 isn't over yet, but I'm one of those people that's optimistic about them winning every race. Because I think like if it's going to be done, I think this year's the best chance. I mean, it's all set up. They're halfway there. I mean, I feel like it's possible, but I think the comparison between which era is more boring, Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen's, I feel like it's just another excuse for those two fan bases to kind of go after each other. And I also think by trying to say that another person's favorite driver's dominant era was more boring, I feel like people do that to give the driver that they like more validity in their achievements. But at the end of the day, drivers will only achieve results based on how good their machinery is. And Lewis Hamilton had his time, Michael Schumacher had his time, Sebastian Vettel had his time. I mean, the list goes on, really. And right now, it's Max Verstappen's time. So give me your opinion in the comments section below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribed. Feel free to follow me on Instagram for some behind the scenes content and future video sneak peeks. And with all that being said, thank you very much for watching.
Absolutely love this guy's channel. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to him, bro. And I feel like he just legit pointed that out. Like, he explained it so perfectly. And I know I chimed in a lot. Obviously, I didn't mean to rant that much, but just giving how I felt, my perspective on how I felt. But yeah, there's nothing else for me to add. I think he's completely right. Of course, if it's not your driver that's being dominant, you're not going to enjoy someone else's. Know what I'm saying? Someone else that you're not a fan of dominating. So of course you're gonna be upset about that. But that's all we got. You guys got a favorite video suggestion? You can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. It's your boy DTN. Out.